Linux terminal. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I hear that you can hear me. So, right. Okay, so in a couple of minutes, I will open up Bash terminal, and the whole session, basically, will be within the Bash terminal. So this will be a live session. But before I do that, I need to share an idea with you. And to do so, I want you to imagine a blacksmith. And this blacksmith was asked to create a fine shield for his customer. What this blacksmith needs to do is to consider at least 3 things. First one will be a material that he needs to use to create that particular shield. And with that question, probably, he will go over to the customer and ask, what material should we use? We need to agree on that, because it has a great impact on resilience, on other attributes of that particular shield. Then he will go over to the next question. And this will be, what shape this shield should have? And again, this time, he will go to the customer and ask, what shape we need to do? What shape of this shield should be? And in case that customer will say, okay, so I want that kind of very strange and beautiful shield, the blacksmith may ask this customer, right, but that kind of shield will not be very useful during the battle, because it will be weak, it will be not working, so it will be more like a ceremonial shield or something like that. Do we have agreement on that? And there will be a third thing, and the third thing will be choosing what tools the blacksmith should use to create that particular shield. And in this case, he will not go over to the customer, because customer has nothing to do with what kind of tools he wants to use to create a shield. And I think there is a similarity with this to our world. There are certain things that we need to talk with customer, and even database or what language you use or what cloud we use have impact on customer, because have impact on price or other criteria. But there are certain things that customers don't care about. And if I'm thinking about a developer persona, I like to think about 2 different things that we can split up. So there is knowledge. Knowledge gives you possibility to solve problems. Knowledge gives you possibility to talk with customers and to learn advanced stuff, go further. And basically knowledge push your careers forward. But there's the second thing, and I like to call them skills. Skills gives you proficiency to transforming idea into a working solution. And as our blacksmith, maybe we can take 2 blacksmiths, and both of them will create the same shield, but one will make it a little bit faster, and the second one will create that shield a little bit slower. Why is that? Because of proficiency in using particular tools. So what I'm going to talk about today will be proficiency in doing things. And maybe, and probably, I'm sure about that, there are people that know Linux terminal better than I do. And that's fine. If that's the case, think about this as a general idea, as a follow-up that you can use that concept in whatever case you want. You can use that concept in case of your key bindings, in case of your overall working environment, etc. I'm going to use shell as a showing you how you may improve your work style, because there will be things that you probably do on your daily basis. And if you don't know Linux terminal, I hope that there will be a lot of new tools, new funny things, and great things that you can learn. So let's start. But before I do that, I have one question. Do we have any gamers in the room? A lot of. I thought that will be the case. So, do you know RPG games? I used to play RPG games when I was younger, like Fallout 2 or Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, that kind of things. And what's at the very beginning of an RPG game? When you press play, what do you need to do? Create a character. Yeah, that's correct. However, I'm not able to mess with your DNA today. So, and I'm sure that your parents did it perfectly well. And also, what's more, you already choose your character. We have Java warriors here. We have some software ninjas. We have, I don't know, there's too much of these solutions here to mention them all. So what's the next thing? When you create a character, a lot of games have something that you need to do, either you like it or not. Sorry? Yeah, learning the basics, so the tutorial, yeah? You need to go over the tutorial. That's correct. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the game of effectivity. And I would like to be your host today and go over with you with the tutorial part of that game. Shall we begin? Now is the part when I'm going to the shell and that kind of thing. So let's start with our journey. Okay. Wake up. So imagine that the situation is as follows. You're sleeping, someone asks you to wake up because you were in hibernation. You will be confused because you don't remember things, that kind of story. And we need to start as slowly as we can, so that's why we need to go over the tutorial. You know, in the books, it's set and creation called. But we are in a hurry. We are in a hurry because we need to learn something. And what I would like to do is to start that tutorial now. And at the very, very beginning, what we need to do is to know how to move around. Basically, without that, we can't move anywhere. And probably you know this stuff, very basic stuff like change directory command, that I can open some directory. Oh, I will go to here. Open some directory. Easy stuff, yeah? Probably you know another basic. I will try to clear as much as possible, so at the end you will be able to see that. But if not, then please raise your hand and I will repeat something, okay? So probably you know list. That's the very basic stuff. I see a lot of places when some developers do, okay, so I will open projects, I will list, I will open another directory, I will list, I will go to applications, I will list, that kind of things. But that's not very effective, and our game is about effectivity. It's not about just moving around. So let's see what other things we can have here to move around more effective. So probably you know the tilde that will give you possibility to move back to the home directory. Maybe you don't know dash, that will go back to previous directory. That's very quick, easy way. There is certain thing, it's called pushd and popd in Linux, and you can pushd any directory and then pop from the stack that directory. But a lot of people don't know that you can automate these things, and there is something called auto pushd and auto popd. So if I'll put, maybe I'll use full command, like that. These are the commands that I opened during this session in the terminal, and I can go to whatever command I like. For example, let's select the last one, journey, -4. Here I am. So that's a little bit faster, but it's working during the shell terminal right now, so in the current session. If I will close my computer and open it, I will not remember such things, so that doesn't work that way. There is project jump thing that is really great. You said that, okay, so in that directory I have my projects, and then you can just project jump and select the project that you want to go to. So that's quite a quick thing. But sometimes you don't remember the name of the project. There is something about Moon, but I don't not remember what was it. So you can use Z plugin, and this one will find your directory within your system that you were somewhere in the past. So if you ever open that directory, it will try to find it by just the path of it. At the end of the session, there is a link, and there are all tools described, so you don't need to write them down, okay? Because I see that some people do that. So just enjoy the game, shall we? So that will be about moving around. Listing, okay, but there is a better tool sometimes that you can make a tree. So you will see more things at all within the tree directory. But this one just shows you, doesn't allow you to search or something like that. And searching is also important for moving. So there are two funny tools that you can use. First one will be Brute, I think, Brute, BR. That shows you the same thing. It's a directory tree, but you can move around here. That's the first thing. You can close some directories. You can open a file in the editor of your choice. It doesn't need to be shell editor. It could be external one, like Visual Studio Code or IntelliJ or something like that. And you can obviously use the internal one. Sometimes you need something to see the files. So there is, for example, Ranger. And the Ranger can give you also possibility to go back and see how something is written, that kind of things. I'm not really a fan of Ranger, to be honest, but it works. So that's the second tool. You obviously can use find, and find is kind of basic. So let's find all Java classes. There are some, but sometimes you don't remember a particular name, and if you search for Java classes on your entire system, it will be a little bit too much, I think. So there is this function of fuzzy search, and you can use just part of something. So I know there will be Moon, or maybe Moo factory. Oh, this was a shell Moon factory. Yeah, that's the one. So you can use that thing, and if you finish that, it will return a path to that file. So we can, because we want to effective thing, we can connect such things. So I will open wherever fuzzy search will return, and by doing that, I will have the open file just in a blink of a second. But that's just moving around. We know how to move around. We should go with our journey further. We know how to move around. Now it's time to check if you remember all tools and weapons that you need to know. Because the second thing in all the RPG games is managing your inventory. And in case of inventory, I've got that feeling that there are two things. So you can split them up into passive items and active items. Passive items, like a helmet, is things that you just wear on, and you gain some defense or something like that. Yeah? You don't need to think about, I'm using my helmet all the time during the battle. And then on the active items. Active items, you need to use, you need to put action on them, and they give you something in return. And the same, you can think about it in the shell. There will be some passive things, and there are some active things. For example, passive thing, you can see it on my screen already. You can see that I'm using a Git, and I'm on the main branch. Yeah? I really encourage you to use ZSH shell with all my ZSH plugin. And you can select a lot of themes, because we do not have time for reconfigure it, I imagine. But you can get something like I have just, I don't know, 15 minutes of configuration and installation, and you will have the same environment that I do now during this session. So what I can see now, there is a mine. I can touch a file, and I see, oh, there is something new there. I can add that file, and I see, oh, I have something to commit. You see that? I can stash, and I'm seeing that there is something stashed. There are the icons that you need to learn, but this is passive. I don't need to say, okay, git status for that, or something like that. I don't need to do anything. And this is the basic thing that passive tool can give you, but there are more of it. Let's see some of them. The first thing that I learned during the microservices way, that I have applications in a lot of Java versions, and there are a lot of versions of anything, to be honest. Even Quarkus has some versions, and you need to take care of it. And there is a lot of the, there is a JEnv that can give you a possibility to change Java. There is the SDK man. I will show you the latest because of a nice feature that it gets. So imagine that I have Java 11 application, and you already, oh, you don't see that. So I will back, and I will open Java 11 application, and you already seen that my Java was changed automatically to version 11. And I see that at the very end of my bash line, status line, and I also see that Maven package in version 1.0.0 snapshot. I see that already on the branch main. If I will go to a different place, for example, to the cave, It has a Docker file, so automatically I see what registry of Docker I used currently and what Java version, because Java version was changed immediately for me. And this is a great tool with SDK, and you can just do that by creating SDK file, SDK man rc, and there is the settings of the all libraries. And you can turn on neat feature that will automatically, when you open a directory in shell, change you these things to a particular version. However, there is a feature that SDK man basically by default works in online mode. And online mode means by every opening directory, it will go over to the internet and check some things and go back. So then your directories will open not in the blink of a second, but oh my God, that takes a while, especially today at the conference, it would take a while, you can imagine. So what you want to do is offline enabled. And I really encourage you to do that, because SDK man, from time to time, will ask you, maybe some upgrade guy, maybe we can do that today, and you can turn that on, do SDK, upgrade, SDK, offline, disabled, and you are perfectly fine. Everything will change for you. So that's a neat passive feature that you can have there. What about active ones? So basically, what you want to do is to know the very, very basic features for the, I got the list to not go anywhere, and give you all the things that I prepared. So the basic things you need to learn is, you see my shortcuts there, yeah? It's Control R, that gives you a history of the things that you executed in the past. And I encourage you to increase that history for, I don't know, 10,000 or something like that, because you want that history. You already solved some kind of problem in Bash that you want to just retry at some point in time. And when you're fighting, there is a fuzzy search there at the moment here, so I don't know, I do some with CavePod. I don't know, oh yeah, that's the one. So you can, it will not go worse over here, but you can go with that solution. So that's the Control R. There are basic things like cat. You know, the cat will show you. Let's open some support files. Cat will show you just file. Tail, maybe I will show something bigger. Will show you end of the file. Head will show you the beginning of the file. Very basic stuff, basically. If you need something a little bit better, there is better cat. It's called Bat, like Batman, and you will be able to do some searching, that kind of things during any kind of files. Sometimes it's very useful because it got some neat features there. So that's the basic of the basic. You need to choose some editor, and I'm not going to start any kind of war. You can choose Vim, you can choose Emacs. If you really want to hurt yourself, you can choose Nano. I don't mind. Just pick something, because you need to be effective at some tool, because you will need some kind of editor. I'm personally using Vim, and I like it. Okay, and maybe if you need to get one tool out of this session, probably I will pick this one that I will show you now. I don't know how many times you are thinking, okay, I want to tar some files, create a tar gz. What was this attribute, X, or the different one? You want to create a symlink, and you are thinking the first was a source and then link, or other way around. And you go into manual, because it's the proper place to do, and think, oh my goodness, I just want to create an archive. No, I'm not going to do that. There is TLDR. If anyone knows TLDR? A few guys, great, that's the best tool, I think. It will do something like that. So if you want to create a zipped archive and write it to a file, just copy that and change wherever you need it. If you want to create a zipped archive from a directory, oh, that's the one I needed. Just copy that line, change wherever, and I still will not remember this at all. And that's a pretty thing, yeah. So that was about inventory. Let's go further, because about that, I don't want to show you, I will show other tools in a second, but I don't want to show too much. Why? Because you don't want to choose 100 CLI applications at the moment. If you do so, then you probably will not be efficient in any of it. So it's better to choose a little bit of it and learn some of them. I will show set, AWK, and that kind of things, AWK, in a second, but there are certain tools that probably learn the basic stuff and maybe add some things that you really need. Because in other way, I will change to black. In other way, if you don't change that things, you will finish with some trains going all over the screen or something like that, and you can watch entire Star Wars in Shell, but I will not start that. Or you can do some, I don't know, adding some colors for that. You don't want such things on your computer. Yeah, it's a company computer, so I don't care, but on my private, I would not use that anymore. So you don't want to go all that way. So let's live with that one, and let's go further. What's after knowing how to move around and how to manage your inventory in games? There's always a particular moment that in Fallout, for example, you was pushed to kill some ants. In Baldur's Gate, you was pushed to kill some mice, I think. So what you need to do is to check your skills in a real battle. So have a little bit of feel how it will be in the real world. So basically, one terminal is not enough, I think, for that. So what we're going to do is to create, maybe that way, a little bit more of them. And let's see, again, what was there, because there was some kind of tip, and we want to, oh, that was not that one. It was episode 2, I believe. Yeah, so what we have, what's the situation? I'm going to do that on the lower corner, because you don't really need to see during what I'm going to do. But basically, the situation is like follows. The Shellmon is rising, wherever it is, and we need to find GEC, so Garden of Eden Creation Kit script, before it rises. This will give us more time to find effectivity script that we are looking for, and we will be able to revert the Shellmon. So we are going to check a few things. First of all, let's go to the key 9s. That's the tool to manage maybe look at your Kubernetes cluster. And there are also pretty nice tools, like, I don't use them too much, but there is LazyGit for LazyGit users. There is Lazy Docker for going through the Docker pods and wherever in your Docker is, that kind of things. There are tools like that, but I'm not going to show you all of them because it will be a little bit too much, I think. What we need to do is go there, and what we are interested in because of that tip is that we need to find a GEC script, and there is a tip. I can give you a hint. You need to find a cave, because what else? In all books there is a cave at the end. And listen to cave messages echo. When you listen to it carefully, you will find your answer under path with content GEC. Well, let's go there and see what we can have. So there is a Shellmon. We need to watch the Shellmon. So I'm going to use the watch command with some additional neat features that watch with color, because I like colors. With D means that you will see the difference. It will blink when something will happen, with interval of 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, the rest of this execution will be executed. So you can do that, for example, for logs. Maybe logs will tile with follow. But in case you want to watch something and repeatedly, you just want to repeat some kind of execution from time to time, you can use watch for that. And then I will use, instead of curl or vuget, there is a very, very neat tool that's called http. It's great for any REST and that kind of things. With pretty, all because I like my things pretty. And then I will go to the Shellmon. But I don't know what Shellmon is. So I will first, I see that coming, okay. I will do it like that. I will explain that in a second. Okay, and now we are seeing that the color of our Shellmon is silver, and it's already rising. So we need to go faster a little bit, I think, to go to the place that we want to be, because we need to finish that thing before it rises. Yeah. So we can go to cave. Now I will go to cave. I will open system logs. Oh my God, there is a lot of it. So maybe use the old style way. It's great to have alias to go back to the Git home, I'm just one step into the repository, but if I will be a lot farther, I will just print git home and I will be at the home directory. So what do you want to do? Cave pod. We get the cave pod. So if you, that's the just pod name from cluster. And what I'm going to do, let's see logs of that. Oh, plenty. And there is some JSON. And there is something about launch event and something about very different strange things. So a lot of people what starts now use piping. So you just put a command and use output from that command to another command. And you can do it like that. So let's maybe just grab echo. Oh, so I have something. And then let's maybe do another step and another step, checking what the output is. But what you can do is to use a very neat tool that I love, but it's very dangerous. Never put any command like rm, remove, or something like that within that. OK, up. It will be up in a second. So if I will do something like that, and there is up. Up stands for ultimate plumber, so you can feel like a Mario. And what it does is just help you to write pipes with immediate feedback below. So what I'm going to do is grab echo. That's the one. So I'm going to go further. I see that at the beginning I need to cut it. So let's do quick math. It's 98 characters. And now I see that there are some JSONs. Let's just take the first one, because why not? We are just trying things around and seeing some things. OK, working with JSONs, there are great tools like JQ for JSON, YQ for YAMLs. There is also a very great tool for CSV files. If you need to work with CSV files, it works like that you add the multiple CSV files and use them as a tables, so you can write a SQL query against CSV files within your bash. Cool thing, yeah? But I use it twice in my life, so I don't keep it on my computer, because why? What we have now, just format it. So JQ, it's formatted. Let's see what we've got there. Moon is still rising. Nothing's changing there. That's great. I can give you a hint. You need to find a cave. We already found it. To listen to cave messages echo. Oh, echo. So we need to find the echo. There is echo. It's a list. So let's just take it slowly. Echo, that's why this tool is great. And never write rm on it or something like that, because it will just execute everything. So you don't want to go there. So with great power comes great responsibility, basically. What we need to do there is to carefully listen to cave messages echo. When you listen to it carefully, you will find your answer under path. There is path, you can see. There is something things about Chuck Norris doesn't have disk latency or something like that. We need to select something from the content, because content will be GEC. You probably will not see the thing on the right. Content will be Garden of Eden Creation Kit. It's from Fallout. OK, that's it. Let's run it. We already have something. So there is a path there that shows us some secret shell script. But let's go to the very end of it. So maybe we can just select the path. So it will be just the path. And there is the nice attribute row that will remove these. Well, I'm losing myself. So if you close it by Control X, you will get this saved as a shell script. So what can you do? It's just run it again, if you like. Cave pod pipe up to, it was sh. No, it's not. It is here. Oh, I didn't do that. Yeah, and this will return wherever you need. So let's run that script, because we are running out of time. So we can just run the output. Oh, what is? Sorry, I need to close that one. So, Sorry for that, I don't know what happened. Oh, again. Yeah, so basically what you need to remember is, so basically we talked about this already. What you need to remember is always check what's inside the script before you execute it, okay? Always, and I mean it. So we can go like bat on that, and you'll see that was done on purpose, something like that. Never execute anything if you just found it. Okay, so what we have now, we executed that script, you ended that thing, so I ended before the time. There was a nice catch there, but we didn't manage it. Let's go to the other things that may be useful for your battles. What I can do is open the support, and imagine that you get the generated person. Usually, imagine that you need to obfuscate that kind of a lot of data, and you need to obfuscate it, removing MD5, SCH, and the password, obviously, from the file and replace it by some kind of asterisk. You can use JQ. That would be probably my personal choice. But imagine that you have an environment that there is no JQ, there are just basic things. What you can use is set and AWK, and it will be something like that. And I'm not sure if you know it, but what you can do is there is a very neat feature that it's called Control X E, followed by X. So I will do that. Control, you see that one? X E. And now I'm in the editor, and I can edit wherever I will execute in my bash. And I can edit it as a file, I can do wherever it is. If there will be something larger, I don't need to start scripting from the very beginning, and I can look and work on anything that I would like to execute. What you can see here is set. Set is great for a lot of things. And for example, in this example, we are using regex that will replace password, self, MD5, and SH, wherever, to some asterisks. That's it. It's nothing really important here, and you can have something like that. You can run that on a lot of files, and it will be quite fast. But as I said before, I will use JQ, just JQ for that. But you can go with the basic stuff like set or AWK as well. What's else here? Yeah. In case you are really like to do some scripting, let's see some script here. There is this random user, for example. It's just echo, so it's nothing really serious. But imagine this is a really very big script and very important one. And what you want to do now is, oh my God, I don't remember if there was API or API2 or something like that. So you usually will close the Vim, go somewhere, or using another shell, another terminal, or tmux or something like that. But what you can do, you can push this Vim to the background, yeah? And you can bring it using FG, foreground, but I don't remember about this FG, so I replaced FG with simple alias that just Control-Z, back and forth. And that's extremely useful sometimes, and sometimes really not. Oh, and what about execution? Imagine that I want execute it. So you probably think that I need to exit from Vim. No, I can execute it right here without exiting Vim, because why not? So let's go further. Okay, and we are on the episode 3, I believe. We did it! Finally, we need to understand how to craft things. So we know how to move around, we know how to manage our inventory, we know how to fight our own battles. And now, the top of the top, we need to know how to craft new things to our inventory. And there are a lot of possibilities. And I'm not going to say that you should write everything in bash, because that's not true. You probably don't want to write anything in bash. But if you need to, if you really need to, there are some things that can help you. Or you can write CLI applications in other tools. For example, Python has Click. Java has Pickle CLI, I believe. And for the bash is Bashly. I will going to show that in a second. But before we do that, you need to remember that in case of a bash, probably if you can execute something here, you can change it into a script. So you can just put it into the script and run it. And basic script in bash, let's see this check system. It's very easy. So there is something that is called shebang, and you there need to choose what shell you want to use for execution. So, for example, it will just use the bash shell. But you can use Python for that. You can use Scala, or is it coffee time? You can use Java, and that's JavaScript, because that's script written in Java. Yeah, I know, so lame, but it worked. Yeah, so we know that we have 9 minutes before coffee break, so that's the JavaScript. That's why I showed this on the Java conference, because nobody else would catch that. So imagine that you have reverse number script, and there is something you need to add to that. So, for example, like that. How to automate such things? There is the statement that is called expect. And expect, and expect works like that. So it will spawn a new session, just the expect one, and it will expect there will be something written like enter the number to reverse. And then it will send some number, so I will just use the script within a script, because I can do that. And if I run that, it will just works. And there is a feature that is called auto expect. And it will record wherever I will write now, and then it will try to replay that. So I can use that script, reverse numbers, write something here, and then I will end the shell. And you can see there was created a script exp file, but if we open that, you will see that it's not really readable. You can make it work, though, sometimes. The most breaking things here is that I have some kind of messages at the start of the session. It's welcome message, but a lot of systems do that. You log into some kind of external shell, it will show you some kind of messages, etc. So you need to just remove that part, and it will work out of the box. So it is possible, to be honest. So that's the thing. And what I would like to show you is Bashly. If you really need to write some bash scripts, let's use framework for that. Yeah. If you really need to write bash script before that, you can use something like shell check that will give you information wherever you done wrong. Oh, again, sorry for that. So you will return, so I should use quotes here, that kind of thing. So you can learn bash by using shell check. So you can write something that's very badly and run shell check, and I will think about it in a second, next time. So you can do that, and let's go to the Bashly, which is just very small framework that you can configure by YAML, obviously. So let's open this configuration YAML. You can see that there are some simple things. There are some comments. You can put what comments you have there. So there is objectivity comment. Maybe let's add additional comment here. So I'll open that in Vim. I will copy that part. And maybe I will not use any arguments, anything like that, because we do not have time for that. Let's call that JDD. And let's say hello JDD. Yep. And Bashly generate. This will create a new file. Oh, why not? I put some maybe some mistake. Oh, I'm in this here. Okay, so Bashly generate. It's created file. If you don't see it, it just created a JDD comment file, and you can just edit it. JDD comment file. I will remove everything from here and just write here, hello, JDD. That's it. I'll regenerate that again, clear, and you can run this script gec. If I just run it, it will show me nice. You know that kind of interface from CLIs, I hope. So it will just show me, these are the comments that you have. I just write it, as you can see, just, it was a simple YAML. There's nothing to do with that. And there are some help things, so I can see, okay, so gec, JDD, what are my options? Help. No, it's gec, JDD, what are my options? Help. So there is a usage. You can give them possibility of usage. I should always clear at every time here. So cake, JDD, age, there is possibility of usage. It's nothing big because we didn't write anything, and it's, as you can imagine, just works and write hello JDD there. Right, so as I have a couple of minutes left, something strange things to, you know, the goal of this session was, as I told at the beginning, to think about what chances do I have to improve myself, to improve these skills. Because knowledge, obviously, you need to focus on knowledge. But sometime in the future, the skills will give you a little bit more proficiency. And this just adds and stacked. So if you will do one small improvement today, and one small improvements day after tomorrow, and one small improvements in next week, something very, very small, it happens that in the weeks, months, years, you will be much more proficient in some simple things. And by doing that, you will gain not 5 minutes of your time, you will gain hours of your time daily. What can you do with hour of your time daily? You can do things better, you can do more things, you can just chill out. There's a lot of possibilities that you can choose from. And, you know, I've found that this way of improving yourself in the small things gives a lot in the future in the kind of how the customers or how your employee look at you during these days. So that's why I think it's kind of important. And it's fun when you don't need to struggle with tools and you need to fight them and they just work for you. That's kind of a really important thing. So we don't want something like that. It's existing. There is a name of that if you want to buy it. But the scissors start to be famous not because of that kind of things, but with the simplest one. That's why, again, I'm telling you that, in my opinion, what works for me, obviously, is that you can start very simple. You can install ZSH and OMyZSH and just use it for shell. You can add additional keyboard to your IDE shortcut. You can do whatever gives you a little bit of improvement today or tomorrow. And think about it like that. To learn new knowledge, it will cost you more time because it's not simple to learn new language, new framework. It will not be 5 minutes. But if you do some kind of refinement of your day, of your week, what else I could do a little bit better, something very small. And I do a lot of that kind of thing. So I can automate that single thing that I do every day. Every single day I do something, so I will automate that. And this will give you a lot in the future. So that's what I would like to sell you today. And this is the link. There is everything there. So you can just grab it. Hopefully, I will extend it sometime in the near future. And I believe we have time for 1 or 2 questions.
Yes, thank you very much. We do have time for 1 or 2 questions. So, Ariani, okay, I see.